الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا حبيب الله الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله. Sayyiduna Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu has said that a dua remains, a supplication remains suspended between the earth and sky until an individual recites peace and blessings upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. Sallu ala al-Habib. At some point in our lives, we all need some form of encouragement. We have devoted our lives to the service of Islam. We learn from our history, we learn from our noble ancestors, rahimahumullah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, that those who serve Islam or strive to serve Islam, make any attempt to serve the religion, will face difficulties. And when one faces such obstacles, there is always need for inspiration, there is always need for motivation. And we are honored and privileged as Muslims that in our rich history we have individuals belonging to the Ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who are shining examples of the kind of service one should perform for Islam and the kind of sacrifices one should give for the religion, the selflessness that one should have when serving the deen. We need not go far and just consider the individual who is referred to by ijma' of the Ahl Sunnah, by consensus, as the best individual after the Prophets alayhimus salam. I speak of none other than Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. His life, his lifestyle, when he was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his company, and when he was given, and after that when he was given the responsibility to rule the Muslims. In fact, his entire life, we find many examples of inspiration, especially the early years when after the proclamation of prophethood, the sacrifices which he had given for the religion. Just to help us appreciate the nature of these sacrifices, I want you to understand the point. If one does not have any wealth, one does not have riches, then to some extent there is a limit to the whispers that he will have to put up with from his nafs, from his ego, from the shayateen around him. But if he thinks about his situation, he will come to realize that I have no money, I have no riches, I have no means to enjoy life, I have no means to disobey Allah or in this way, or to perform sinful actions where spending is concerned or wealth is concerned, because I haven't got it. So the most that he can do is just imagine, visualize, and think that what he might do if he had this. And maybe if he is able to convince himself, he will ignore such whispers and he will serve the religion and try to be the best Muslim he can be. And then you have a situation where you might have an individual who has everything, or what people say everything. May have the apparent means, may have a good income, may be well established in the community. In other words, he has the means to use his wealth in a bad way, or to use his social status to become more negligent of Allah. But even though he has all these things, he chooses not to. Not only did he choose not to, but he gives it all away for the sake of Allah Almighty. This truly is an amazing feat. We talk about who comes from a very modern background. He has changed his life. He may have spent the past few years of his life in the disobedience of Allah Almighty, in terms of apparently disobedient as well. But suddenly there is a transformation and he leaves all those bad habits and all those evil ways. He was the most modern and worldly, you can say, someone after the materialistic in some aspects, chasing after this world. But something happened to him and he left all that, and then he came into the deen fully, or he tried to become a true servant of the religion. Such sacrifice is truly invaluable, for he has left all that. He is still young. He still has the ability. He still has the life in him, the energy in him to go the other way, but he chooses not to. And with Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, what we always must remind ourselves of is that Allah Almighty had blessed him with wealth. Allah Almighty had blessed him with a social status where his word mattered. Allah Almighty had blessed him in respect of what his rank was amongst the people. But he chose to stand by our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the most arduous, the most difficult times. And here we are today, remembering the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. For through remembering him, we believe that the mercy of Allah Almighty is descending upon us. Through remembering him, we believe that we will be inspired and we will be reminded of the kind of motivation that is needed to truly serve the deen. As far as Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is concerned, in terms of his will to sacrifice, we all know that such was his sacrifice, and he was so willing to spend in the way of Allah Almighty that the verses of the Quran were revealed about him. He is referred, as the ulama mufassirin say in the Quran, as atqa, the most pious, the most God-fearing. And the standard of those who receive honor in the court of Allah is not wealth, is not looks. It is taqwa. It is not which family we belong to, who our fathers are. Allah Almighty has made it very clear in the Quran. The standard to attain honor in the court of Allah Almighty is what? Is taqwa. And Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is referred to as atqa, the most pious, the most God-fearing. And as far as the background is concerned, some Mufassirin mentioned how he freed a certain number of slaves, and he was blessed with this title, or he was referred to in the Quran in this way. And the famous account is obviously of how he freed Sayyiduna Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu by paying so much gold for him. Some books say, Hafiz Abu Nu'aym says in Hilyatul Awliya, that he paid 5 heaps of gold. And then some of the non-Muslims were talking about this, and they were saying, if you bargained with us, you could have got him free for 1. And Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, even if I had to spend 100 heaps of gold, I would have given this to free Sayyidina Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And when we look at how Allah Almighty, when we consider how Allah Almighty describes the people of taqwa, we go very early and we look at the very early verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, when Allah describes the people of taqwa. They are those who believe in the unseen. Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu accepted and embraced faith in Islam and in the unseen without any questions and without any doubts. The first to believe in the Prophet ﷺ from the men. And this deep-rooted belief in the unseen, things which he had not seen or witnessed himself. And a beautiful example of this, which is very famous, is how after the Mi'raj of the Prophet ﷺ, some of the non-Muslims were mocking Sayyidina Abu Bakr, the Muslims and the Prophet ﷺ, they were saying to Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, do you know what your Prophet has been saying lately? And Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu did not hesitate to say that if the Prophet ﷺ said this, then I believe him. Allah Almighty also describes another quality of the people who have taqwa, that they establish the prayer. And they establish the prayer in such a way, the commentary of this is that obviously you have the apparent rites of the prayer, meaning that your purification is in place and you fulfill the obligations. There's nothing that you perform in the prayer which will make it invalid, etc., etc. And then you have the inner presence that you should have. This is also a right, that you should actually be present in your prayer, not standing in your prayer and thinking about your business, standing in your prayer thinking about your homes, but having that presence of mind and heart in your prayer, having the humility of your limbs. And there is no doubt that Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had this. As far as the Prophet ﷺ was concerned, he was the most eligible and the most fitting. He was the one to lead the Muslims. And when the Prophet ﷺ became ill, he ordered that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu lead the prayer of the Muslims. The Imam who is appointed, obviously is appointed because of the fact that he is the outstanding individual of that group. And this action of the Prophet ﷺ was enough indication of the fact that from after me, in my ummah, and as we know the bigger picture, after the Prophets ﷺ, Sayyiduna Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is that outstanding, exceptional personality. That he is the one who has the right to lead after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why during his lifetime he made this very clear. Although his daughter Sayyidah Aisha radiyallahu ta'ala anha, she very clearly said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he's very soft-hearted. Expressing that, do you really want him to lead because of his nature, the way he is? The Prophet ﷺ did not change his decision. And a very beautiful account that is mentioned about Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, once he was invited to by some companions radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and he was thirsty, so he asked for something to drink, and a pitcher, a jug was presented before Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and it contained water that had been sweetened with honey. When he realized what it was, he began to cry, began to weep bitterly. The Sahaba asked him, why are you crying? And then he revealed the reason. He said that once I was with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet ﷺ, suddenly he began to say, go away from here, get off my back, go away. And I questioned the Prophet ﷺ, why, Ya Rasulullah, who were you referring to? There was no one there. The Prophet ﷺ said that just now dunya came to me fully adorned. It came to me and I told it to go away. I turned my back to dunya. And it said, if you turn your back to me, I will not leave those who come after you. And he said, I cry because I fear that it is dunya which has come my way in the form of the water that I received. So it's a reminder for all of us, especially those of us who are very quick to claim our love and affection for the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ turned away from the luxuries of this world. Isn't it the case today that we have arguments and disputes due to the luxuries of this world. Families are torn apart with issues of inheritance. Inheritance where it has been seen there is no benefit from that dispute. They won't actually do anything with that land. It's just, I want it to be mine. Disputes and arguments between husband and wife because the food is not quite to my liking. Disputes between children and parents when children demand more luxuries of the world from their parents. And as parents, it is our responsibility to teach our children that you take from dunya what is enough, like a travel. And your focus should be the afterlife. And we give examples of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You don't read nursery rhymes to them when they go to sleep. You tell them about the Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. We read to them stories about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the way they will understand. They're only children. And then suddenly when we have this transformation and we decide to become God-fearing people overnight, and we start to demand things from our children, do we not forget that we were weak in the past, or weaker in the past, or our mentality was different in the past? How can we expect children to change so quickly when it took us time to change? So we should be wise in our approach. Remind ourselves and our children of the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala an. The Prophet ﷺ said, the love of this world is the root of sin. And if we all write this on our hearts today, wallah, half of our arguments would disappear. Many of our disputes would disappear. If you have someone in your family who wants more from you, and you don't really need that whatever he wants, let him have it. Let us have such a beautiful attitude. Let us be willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice is the sacrifice of life when your life is in danger. And this very famous account of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, as you know, when the early Muslims had been instructed to conceal their faith, because the non-Muslims had become so hostile towards them, their lives were in danger if they even mentioned any affiliation with Islam. When there were about, according to some books, 38, near 40 Muslims, and it was the day that Sayyidina Amir Hamza radiyallahu ta'ala anhu embraced Islam, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had this feeling that it is time to reveal, it is time to proclaim, it is time to preach to the non-Muslims directly, openly, publicly. So he seeks permission from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he is very enthusiastic. He's made his mind that today he will openly preach to them. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded him of the situation, but when the Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu insisted, he left. And he stood up before the non-Muslims of Makkah al-Mukarramah, and he began to preach to them. Within moments they realized what he was doing and what he was preaching, and they attacked him from all directions. They beat him and beat him. They carried on beating him until he fell to the ground. He became unconscious. The rumor spread that Abu Bakr has died. Abu Bakr has been killed, radiyallahu ta'ala an. The people of his tribe, they carry him and they take him home. After a long period of time, he regains consciousness, and the first thing that he asks about, the first thing that he says is, how is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When one is in pain, that weak state, weaknesses become apparent. Some people, they call out to their mothers, others simply begin to wail and cry out. Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu remembers the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he did this, there were people of his tribe and other people who'd actually helped get him to safety. They were very angry about this. That look, this has happened. He was almost killed, and now he's asking about Rasul, the Prophet ﷺ. But this was his focus. So he asked his mother as well. He asked his mother to inquire about the Prophet ﷺ, cutting it short. The sister of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala and Jamil became involved, and in the end, in his state, in the state that he was in, just about recovering, he was made to meet they arranged a meeting between him and the Prophet ﷺ. Basically, he was taken to the Prophet ﷺ, and when the Prophet ﷺ saw his state and condition, that meeting was such an emotional meeting. The Prophet ﷺ embraced him, and they both cried. They both wept. The Prophet ﷺ, being affected by the affection and the devotion of this companion of his, radiyallahu ta'ala an. Such a companion whose companionship is mentioned in the Quran itself, in Surah Tawbah itself, when he was in the cave with the Prophet ﷺ. Such companionship that the text of the Quran is evidence of the fact that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And as far as his life was concerned, it is mentioned in Tafsir Ruh al-Bayan, a very beautiful expression of the life and the love of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which I would like to share with you. He said that I like three things. An-nazru ilayka, I like looking at you, the Prophet ﷺ. And I like spending my wealth on you or for you. Wal-julusu bayna yadayk, and I like sitting in your court, in your company. That's what is meant by this. The three things that Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu expressed before the Prophet ﷺ, these are the three things that I like. I like seeing your beautiful face, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I like spending my wealth in your way. And he spent it in such a way that he left nothing for himself, for his family. And when asked, he says, I have left them Allah and His Messenger, Azza wa Jalla wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the ultimate expression of love in spending his wealth for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam acknowledged this in such a beautiful way. He said, none other's wealth has given me benefit the way Sayyidina Abu Bakr's wealth has given me benefit. The Prophet ﷺ to explicitly and specifically mention this and point him out and highlight his spending is noteworthy itself. And he loved to be in the company of the Prophet ﷺ. He was the companion of the Prophet ﷺ during the hijrah in the cave, and even after his death he was blessed with the nearness of the Prophet ﷺ near his Rawda Sharif, and he is resting today near the Prophet ﷺ. So all three requests of his were fulfilled. He was blessed with seeing the Prophet ﷺ often. He was blessed with having the opportunity to spend for the Prophet ﷺ to make him happy, and he was blessed with the opportunity of being near the Prophet ﷺ. He himself, as Siddiq because of his honesty, but also referred to as Atiq because the Prophet ﷺ revealed that he is free from the fire of hell, and the Atiq having the meaning of being free. So blessed was he that 4 of his generations, including him, were companions. His father was a companion, he was a companion, his son was a companion, and his grandson was a companion. Radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Considering the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, his turning away from dunya, his spending in the way of Allah Almighty, his love for the Prophet ﷺ that he longs to sit with him and see him. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was one who did not who was basically strong in his stance of support for the Prophet ﷺ. As we know, when the treaty at Hudaybiyah took place, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, as well as many other Sahaba, were very concerned about the nature of negotiations and what's being agreed with the non-Muslims. But Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu was the one on that day who was very calm and expressed his utmost trust in the decision and judgment of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He did not waver at all. There was nothing in his behavior. And throughout his life, we see how he had served the religion of Islam. Today, in this world that we live in the ease that we have, the fact that when we get up to preach, there will not be people who will attack us, inshallah. The fact that most of us live in communities that are dominated by Muslims. The fact that we have the freedom to practice our religion. If we are still negligent and we are not serving the religion the way we should be, then we are not true to our admiration for Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. If we gather here with one intention being that we want to remember the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, to be inspired, then be inspired and show the fact that you've been inspired by going away from here and doing your utmost to bring people to the Quran and Sunnah. Express your admiration and love for him by turning away from this world, meaning by not being taken in and drawn in by the lure of this world, and just trying to live a life that is simple, trying to live a life which is an example for other Muslims. May Allah Almighty enable us all to remember the life of Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and to follow his shining example. For as the Prophet ﷺ said, the Sahaba are like stars, and he is one of those shining stars. In fact, from the Sahaba, the brightest star, if you want to put it that way. It is up to us now, when we leave this gathering today, to follow up and to actually express our love for Islam and our service for Islam by doing our best to bring our Muslim brothers and sisters, our families, and those we know around us, those we don't know around us, all of them, trying to bring them towards this beautiful religion of Islam and the beautiful way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We have the freedom to do so. When Allah has given a blessing, do not misuse it. We never know when a blessing may be taken away from us. Today we have health. Today we are able to speak. Today we are able to see and hear. Today we are able to walk properly without any problems. Who knows what will happen tomorrow? Whether we are faced with a condition where we're not as mobile, whether we're faced with a condition where we cannot even help ourselves, forget helping other people. So while we can, let us do what we can. May Allah Almighty enable us to be sincere in our efforts. Ameen bijahin Nabil Ameen sallallahu alaihi wasallam.